Once again, welcome to Mid-Michigan College. I'm Chris Pellerito. I work with admissions, and as most of you know, every college has an admissions department, and our job in admissions is to help you. Keep that in mind. We're happy to do so at Mid, and we're very good at helping. Understand too, this is not an infomercial today. We're not going to talk for an hour about Mid-Michigan College. Just so you're clear, those of us, because there are a number of you that are joining us from, outstate. You may not be familiar, but just so you're clear, Mid-Michigan College, I often have people ask me, where are you located? And I'm tempted to say, well, right here, you knucklehead. I don't, but we are. We've got a campus in Mount Pleasant, about 5 miles from our good friends CMU, and about a half an hour north of Mount Pleasant, outside the town of Harrison, is our beautiful Harrison campus, quaint rustic charm. Just so you're clear, the more robust skilled trades offerings that Mid has are here on the Harrison campus. But it doesn't mean you can't do any of the skilled trade studies at the Mount Pleasant campus. Okay? Good. We're going to keep moving forward. I don't usually say, hey, you're in for a treat. But I am again this morning because I know who's at the table with me. No, it's not literally a round table, but this is probably the best way for you guys to be part of this. As I mentioned, feel free to chime in, raise your hand, throw a question up here. I did get some questions in advance sent via email, and we'll work with some of those, and we'll work with some other questions that I brought to the table. Fair enough? Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there, and then we're going to get going. If you send me an email, if you send admissions@midmich.edu, can you tell me what role Mike Rowe has? Dirty jobs, Mike Rowe. You tell me what role Mike Rowe has and why he bothered to go speak to Congress. Only one time, Mike Rowe went and talked with Congress. Why did he do that? You tell me why. Send me an email, one sentence, reasonably, grammatically correct, and I'll send you a new iPhone 14. I'm just kidding. I will send you a shirt that fits you, something along that line, something good and cool that way. Okay? All right, here we go. Gentlemen, I mentioned it a moment ago, but I'd love for you to briefly introduce yourselves to our audience. Bear in mind that a good number of them are on the other end of that camera somewhere. Thank you for being here. Harry, maybe start with you?
Sure. My name is Harry Lever. I currently run the Central Michigan Manufacturers Association. There are 110 member businesses from around our region. Our primary footprint is Gratiot, Isabella, Clare, and Gladwin counties. Our main focus is to try and get manufacturers to work together with each other, share best practices, look at things that we can do that will improve everybody's lot in life. Our tagline is, business is better when we work together. From a personal standpoint, I started into the manufacturing world in 1966. In fact, looking around the room, I'm guessing that was probably before your parents were even born. So there have been a lot of changes that I've seen throughout my life. And it's been exciting to watch the evolution of manufacturing over this period of time. I can't wait to see what the future's going to hold for us.
Adam.
Hi everybody, my name is Adam Stroyeski. I'm a portfolio leader at Dow Chemical. So what that means is I lead the construction projects for all of the labs and office buildings across all of the buildings that Dow Chemical owns and manages in North America and Latin America. So I've got construction managers, project managers, admin folks that help us to do anything from a small, $500,000 lab renovation to a $100 million office building, depending on what the pleasure of the folks are at Dow to build. So really appreciate the opportunity to be here to chat with you guys and gals today. So thanks for having me, Chris.
I'm Josh Myers. I teach the construction trades at the Clare Gladwin Career Center. I've been doing that for 24 years, been a licensed residential builder since 1996. And my primary role is I tell people that I don't build houses, I build people. And I build them one house at a time. So that's the approach I take to my day-to-day operations with training young adults for the construction industry.
Hey, good morning. I'm Jeremy Rowley. I'm with J-Rank Electric. We're out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan. We're a large electrical contractor. We do work all over the state of Michigan and across the country as well. A lot of Department of Transportation work, airports, solar fields, and large industrial projects with large customers like Enbridge and other folks like that.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Chris. My name is Sean Schreier from Mid-Michigan College and Dean of the Skilled Trades. I've been here 20 years. I've had this position that I have right now since 2015, so it's exciting to have all you young people here in front of us today talk about the virtues of the skilled trades as a profession. And thank you again, Chris, for having us. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Like I said, I was excited about this and knowing who's at the table, because it's one thing to think, well, I think I want to know a little bit more, but this person I'm reading about in a magazine or seeing on TV or seeing in charge of some program, I don't get to sit with them and ask them that question. Now you do, okay? So feel free, like I said. But I'm going to start, and I'm going to start with Josh, only because I know Josh throws fastballs. You ever do any hiring?
Absolutely.
What's the first question you generally ask a potential hire?
A lot of times we want to know a little background information, any specific training they have in the industry. One of the telltale signs, though, is attendance and attitude. And sometimes you can get that read within the first couple minutes of an interview, and sometimes it takes a bad hire to find out attendance and attitude.
Adam, what's the first question you ask when a young person walks in? Potential hire.
Yeah, so I think, my first question always is, what do you guys want to do? Like what are your plans? Why are you here? And I agree a lot with, Josh's comments. It's how you engage. Are you attentive? Do you look me in the eye? Do you have a firm handshake when you show up? I necessarily don't need somebody that has 20 years experience in the specific field, right? I want somebody that's willing to learn, come in and has the right attitude, right? I'm willing to show up every day. I can pass a drug test, and I'm a reliable person that's going to show up and have a good attitude most days. It's never going to be perfect every day, but somebody that's willing to come, put in a good day's work, and learn something. That really is kind of what we're looking for.
Cheer. What do you ask a potential hire? What's the first thing you ask them when they walk in and get in front of you, if they get that far?
Typically, I want to know what they have been doing. Do they have a job? How's school going? Whatever their position that they're seeking might be, and then also try to understand are they a good fit for the role they're applying for. Sometimes the role's not exactly what they think.
Give us an example. Like you would tell a kid, I don't think you're the right fit for this.
We have people that come in maybe with the misperception that project manager is out in the field and just kind of bossing people around on the job. And that's not at all the case. Our project managers are in the office 90% of the time, so it is an office job, and sometimes they don't understand exactly what the role is.
All right, we're going to get back to you on the management part, because I'm keenly interested in that. I've got a question related to that. But I want to throw this back over to Harry. And usually I start with this kind of question, but I wanted to get right into the hiring, the meat of it. But I meet a ton of folks. There's a lot of them in this room. There's a lot of them behind the camera. There's 200 high school juniors and seniors that are watching this. And somewhere, maybe in the dark corners of their minds or middle of the night, somebody's asking them, why a skilled trade? Why would a kid choose a skilled trade today? There's a lot of easier paths to go.
I think to start with, I would point out that what I see with a lot of kids, I see with a lot of adults, is they're told about something, but they don't really understand it because they can't relate to it. Someone describes what's in this cup. Well, you're going by the description or the education, if you will, about what should be in that cup. But the reality is that if we can get you into the skilled trades environment where you can start to see the things that you can create And it's all, if you would, a lot of the folks that are in the manufacturing sector, skilled trade sector, they're artists. They're true craftsmen with what they do. And they take a lot of pride in what that product is that they are putting out at the end of the day. I think that's one of the key things. Another one would be, I think you want kids to be able to recognize that a skilled trades job isn't a job that is defined with clear borders and clear boundaries of exactly what you do. What it is the job that says the opportunities in front of me are unlimited. We have a story we just did with one company out of Isabella County called Bandit. We had an interview with the owner of the company, Mike Morey. Mike started this company. All he was a fabricator. He learned how to weld. He worked at his uncle's shop for several years. And he decided to go out and do it on his own. He started that business. Today that business has over 700 employees. So you can start in skilled trades and you can grow to be anything. It's all a matter of about your curiosity and your drive to be more than what the guy is beside you.
I'm coming back to you on that same question, but I noticed when you said, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot, I don't usually do this, but I'm going to ask you to raise your hand, or not. I noticed when you said, and I never considered this, that a skilled trades person is an artist, and I get it. Having seen them do what they do, I totally get that, but I noticed they all shook their heads like, yes, absolutely. Have you ever considered that someone in skilled trades is somewhat of an artist? Yes? No? Okay, I see a few hands. Really? You did? Maybe because you guys know more. Good for you. Sean, I'm asking you the same question. There's a lot of easy routes. You and I meet lots of 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds that would just as soon say, yeah, I've got a little bit of an understanding of a skilled trade. I'm on my way there, but it's easier to go get that $14 an hour job that requires little or no skill. Why a skilled trade?
I think one word I think about is opportunity. There's so many opportunities out there. You hear a lot about student debt, and I'm someone who carries student debt. After 20 years of paying it off, I'm still paying it off. I'm almost done. However, the point is there's opportunity out there to get a job without going to massive student debt. Compare the average 20-year-old who goes into the trades compared to an average 20-year-old who goes to university. Oftentimes you're going to find the 20-year-old who goes into the trades has their own vehicle, has their own house, oftentimes has sustainable relationships, oftentimes is married. They're starting life much quicker. And there's nothing wrong with the 4-year university route. I took that route myself. But if you're looking for opportunity, you're looking for to keep your debt down. We all hear about student debt, right? That is a big time buzzword in education and society right now. People who work in education, we're aware of it. But I can tell you the opportunity in these trades is twofold because you can get a great job at a high pay at a very young age. Yourself in a really good career path at a young age. You don't have to deal with a lot of student debt or no student debt. And you can pick where you want to live. You want to live in Clare County, you can do that. You want to live in Wayne County or Detroit area, you can do that too. You want to move somewhere else where it's warm, you can do that too. These things are national certifications and they're needed everywhere.
Yeah, Sean and I see that, and my colleagues here from MID see that. That's one of the coolest parts about it. And we see it with the skilled trades more than any. For example, there's a really cool young man I coached in soccer at Gladwin, went through our heating and cooling program, got it down, had it right here, moved to Texas, never looked back. He's never coming back to Gladwin, no offense to Gladwin, but he had it here, and that's what's kind of cool. You take that with the skilled trades. Anybody else want to add to that question? I mean, that's a significant question. Why skilled trades? Go ahead.
I think the thing that I think about is pride. You have an opportunity to be part of something that's going to last 100 years, right? I know when I started, we did a lot of work at Michigan State. So back when the stadium was a lot different, I was part of one of the first renovation projects to the Michigan State Spartan Stadium, right? So every time I go back for a football game, I can tell my kids, hey, I was part of that. And to look back on that 25 years ago is pretty cool. And that opportunity exists for everybody to go and build a building or go pour concrete on a campus that's going to last another 50, 80, 100 years is really a cool thing, and you can do it anywhere. You know, like Sean said, there is no shortage of need for skilled trades folks, and the opportunities are wherever you guys want to make them, and you can pretty much write your own check. Really a good opportunity.
Okay. I'm gonna throw a hard one at Josh, because I'd like to just start right, first in. Mr. Myers. There you go. No. And I want all of you to chime in or to respond to this, because it's an important question, but let me set the stage, so to speak. When they're polling parents nowadays, obviously, parents' biggest concern for kids in school is safety, mental health, and what's the third one? I should know this. Safety, mental health, and something to do with, the academic side of it. The skilled trades don't show up on the polls. So do skilled trades matter? Or is it just gonna be, somebody's gonna fill the role, and maybe it'll be the kids that we push towards an alternative type of education? Do skilled trades matter?
Absolutely, skilled trades matter. I've dedicated my whole life to the skilled trades. One, I'm a craftsman, I take pride in my work, and then I want to share that with people. So, skilled trades is here. It is, I believe, all of us that teach skilled trades, we incorporate core academics into our day-to-day operations. So, one thing I like to say is if I get a student for 2 years, I have more contact with that student during his K-12 education than any other teacher they have. So those of us that teach career tech all around the state, we have kids 2 to 3 hours a day, and we get them for 2 years. So if we don't take our job serious, and we don't lead by example, we could have a devastating impact on the skilled trades. On the flip side, if we do it right, we have an enormous positive impact on the skilled trades. And that's why I come every day.
Cool. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
I want to add in that there's a misnomer. A lot of people believe that you need to go and get this college education in order to really be successful in life. The answer is wrong. That's not what it is. I mean,
Wait, say that again? The answer's wrong?
that answer is wrong.
Because I hear that answer all the time.
If you think about it, we have a lot of people in the skilled trades area that make phenomenal money. They make six digits. There's a lot of work involved with it, but there are those opportunities out there. You become a skilled electrician or control technician, or you become a skilled machine builder. The world is out there for you to grab, and people will pay you very good money for the skills that you bring to the table for them.
Okay. This kind of leads into my next question. Anybody want to add to that before I move on?
I just wanted to say, I grew up in a house where I was expected to go to college. I very much floundered or was lost in my first year of college. Skilled trade saved me. I got a summer job working construction and I fell in love with it. And then I said, how can I incorporate this to getting a college degree so I could have both satisfy my family's expectations, but then also feed my own hunger, and that's to go build and make a name for myself. So I'm very thankful for this summer job. And I tell my students, you're light years ahead of me. I was 20 years old when I started in construction. When you're starting at 17 in a training format, you are light years ahead of a lot of us in this industry just getting the jump start. So that's why I'm so committed to this, is it pretty much saved me and got me on track and showed me something that I wanted to do the rest of my life.
Cool, thank you. This kind of leads into one of my favorite interviews I ever saw. Denzel Washington, he's an actor. Very good, very talented actor. They were asking him about his experience with younger folks and younger actors and actresses. And Denzel was describing how And I see this with my oldest son who's in the bass fishing industry too. He frequently works with social media marketing and he gets questions from students or young bass fishermen that are basically looking for shortcuts. But Denzel Washington explained that, hey, you know, they ask me, I want to do what you do. How can I get to do what you do? What's the easiest way to get there? And he looked right at the camera and responding to it, and he said, I tell them, you want to do what I do? Do what I've done. What does that mean? What have you, in a nutshell, what have you done to get you where you are now? I mean, you were swinging a hammer at some point, right? Just swinging a hammer, and had 7 bosses, right? Okay, tell us.
Yeah, I think, my story is kind of similar to Josh's. Mr. Myers, I didn't know that, you kind of did the college route thing, but, growing up, I had a couple of uncles that were skilled tradesmen. One was a carpenter, and one owned his own, at the time, it was an insulation business. So growing up, I always worked for my uncles, whether it was a side job for Uncle Joe pouring concrete or roofing a house or finishing a basement, or Uncle John had 5 houses going and I was the guy in the truck with blown wall cellulose, doing that stuff. Dirty job, right? Mike Rowe would have loved it, but the pay was good and I had money in my pocket as a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, bought my first vehicle. I went to college at Michigan State. I co-opted at the bank in Beaverton, and I went to Michigan State thinking I was going to go into business, right? Suit and tie every day. And I went through my first semester of business classes and went, I'm not sure that that's for me. And I had a buddy whose brother had went in the construction management path and said, hey, I'm going to go take BCM 101 to kind of learn about construction management. What do you think? So I said, I'll go do that, right? So I did that class, and I've never looked back either. My 20-plus year professional career has always been in construction, but it started back, again, me and my uncle, and maybe me and my uncle and a couple other guys pouring concrete or, doing those things. And it has helped me all the way through my construction career. Because I know what it is to be on a job site. I know what it is to be waiting for mud to show up, and you got 15 other things that need to get going, and you got an electrician waiting to get his vehicle in. But all of that stuff that you just learn as you're out there and you're doing it, everything that you do, you're just putting in the back of your mind, and it makes it easier for you to have conversations. So now when I'm, sitting at a table with 15 trades partners and we're figuring out sequencing for a project, I know what it is to, frame a building, or I know what it is to wait for material to show up on a job site and figuring out how that fits in so these folks can go to work and these folks can get ready and get wrapped up. So it started with that, right? Pouring concrete or doing something on the side and getting in, as Josh said, right, at 17 years old and finding out that it's a pretty good path to go. You're ahead of it and you're just going to have that much more learning and knowledge to build upon. So I think it's really good.
Jeremy.
So my path was a little bit different maybe than these gentlemen, but I just want to say I really appreciate events like this and talking about it. I'm pretty passionate about skilled trades. I'm on the business side of things, so I see the absolute need for it. There really is no limit to the money you can make in it. You're absolutely right. A lot of our guys are making 6 figures. But I don't want to sugarcoat it too much. It's a real thing. You get your hands dirty. It's cold. It's a little bit of a tough go, but it's super rewarding. You sleep well at night. You've done something. I started when I was really young, probably 10 years old. On the weekends, Christmas break, spring break. I got my first job that wasn't part of the family business when it was the summer after my 7th grade year. Worked every day, 8 hours or more on construction, not electrical. I got really good grades in school, but it wasn't the path I wanted to go. I wanted to jump in. I wanted things. I wanted a house. When I was 19 years old, I bought 10 acres on a river. When I was still a senior in high school, I went without any help or co-signer and signed and bought my own brand new pickup truck. These are the things you can do when you're generating money, but you got to work for it. It doesn't just fall into your lap. I also don't want to downplay college. There's a place for everybody, and we need people in this world with those college educations to do the jobs they do as well. But right now, there's a big need for skilled trades. I have a state electrical license here in Michigan. I can go anywhere in the country and get a job, a very good paying job. So my whole world can be flipped upside down. We don't know what's coming tomorrow. I could end up in another spot and be fine. My grandfather always said,
Good guy.
yes, he was. He said, a man that can work with his hands will never go hungry. And that would mean a woman too. But you can fend for yourself with that.
It's cool stuff. Go ahead.
The Denzel Washington thing, if you want to do what I'm doing, you have to do what I've done. I think as young adults, you need to understand, all of us up here, those aren't all success stories, the things that we've done to get where we're at. There is failures in life, whether it's in business, and you have to understand that as young adults, that those are not setbacks. Those are merely things that are going to build your character and shape the direction you go with whatever you're passionate about. So don't look up here and think, oh, we've never had failure or had to deal with adversity. We have to. So what we've done isn't all successes, but that's why we're here. So I think you need to understand that as young adults.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. Thank you. Hit that one out of the park, man. You want to add it?
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit on that because I experienced failure myself. My first year of community college, I went to Open Community College. I darn near failed out. I'm just going to be transparent with everybody here. It wasn't intuitive to me. When I was 17 years old, I decided I wanted to be a CTE student and go on the electrician route. That opened a whole different world to me. We all experience failure. I was a C+ student in high school. I'm not bragging. I have 2 master's degrees today. That's through a lot of hard work, a lot of failure. So I think that's really important that you brought that up because I don't want to spin this tale up here that we've had it, pretty easy and straight cut forward, and that's not been the case. I've heard stories from Harry about his apprenticeship, School of Hard Knocks. We all have to take the bite off that sandwich, if you will. And we might be up here talking about this today, but we've all been in your shoes, and I've been in your shoes, and I've experienced plenty of failure in my life, and you have to have strength to overcome that.
Bite off that sandwich.
Bite off that sandwich.
That sandwich tastes crumbly.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does.
I've tasted that too.
Yeah, sometimes it does.
Tasted that too. I want you to add here, because it was a long time ago that I was 17, but I do recall vividly, and because Beth and I work a lot with high school 17 and 18-year-olds, we do recognize the fact that when you sit there, it's one thing for us to just say it, but it's like, okay, yeah, but what's on the menu, really? Or what's the map look like, really? So I want you to add to your answer right now. If there's one 18-year-old sitting here saying, okay, I hear you, I get it, you're human, what do I have to do? Really, what's next?
There's a lot of opportunities. There's not one answer to that either. I say that there's pieces of the puzzle. I work at the college. I'm the dean of the skilled trades programs. I represent my programs. We're not the be-all, end-all. We want to be a piece of that puzzle. Everybody up here is a piece of that puzzle. Mr. Meyer's program is a piece of that puzzle. He's feeding into the construction trades, J-Rank Electric. We're all feeding into a piece of the puzzle. I can't solve the pipeline issue that we have in the state and country by myself as a community college. I can't do that. But if we all come together and work together as in unison as one, we can build up that pipeline and train young people like you to go on these lucrative jobs within our country and return back and be good citizens. So I think that's important. I think that's important.
Good deal. Okay, Harry, I'm coming back to you. How many of you give a rip about superheroes? Wait a minute. Nobody? Okay, how many give a rip about superheroes, but you don't want to admit it, so therefore you're not going to raise your hand? All right, good deal. My superpower is the ability to be able to get up at the crack of dawn and get a bunch of stuff done. It's not always accomplishing great things, and I'm the true definition of an unskilled laborer. But here's where I'm going with this, and I'd like to start with Harry, and I want you to keep your answers brief because we're moving along, but there's other things I want to get to. You can take the 518-year-olds that are hearing this and the 250 17-year-olds that are hearing this, and you can equip them with one thing on their utility belt for the future. And, it might be strong conviction, or a credo to live by, or principles, or creativity, or adaptability, problem solving. What would that one thing be? I'm asking the rest of you, so get ready.
I think the term passion comes to mind for me. Whatever you decide to do, go at it with gusto. Don't go at it half-heartedly. Go at it with the full commitment. It doesn't mean you can't change your path along the way, but whatever you do, put everything you've got into it.
Got that? Easier said than done?
I would say be humble, right? Nobody expects you to show up as a 17 or an 18-year-old and know everything, right? Be willing to learn from the folks that have been out there doing it for many, many years. Be attentive to that and really suck it in as a sponge. There are folks out there in the skilled trades industry that want to show young people how to do what they've done. I think we talked about pride a couple of times. They're very, very much a prideful group, and they want to impart it on somebody. So be, those people that are willing to learn from those folks. The last thing I want to see on a job site is a 20-year-old show up and tell a 50-year-old that they know better, right? That it's not the case, and that's okay, right? That's the way that it's supposed to be. So be willing to kind of let that flow as you get into your careers, no matter what it is, right? And I think the path change comment is super appropriate. You can do that, but just really be humble and be willing to learn.
I'm going to be very similar to Z's statement on that, and I tell my students this. Some of the smartest people in the world know what they don't know, okay? That means you don't BS, if you don't know how to frame or cut that rafter, you go find somebody that does and get the answer. So know what you don't know. It's okay to not be full of all the knowledge. Like Z said, that 50-year-old, he's going to train you on site. He's going to help give you that knowledge. So I guess the moral I'm saying is it's attitude. It's how you show up. And then the last thing, and my students don't like this, you fight. And you fight for you, and you be the best advocate you can be for yourself, because no one's going to stand up for you. Okay? You've got to fight. And that's what I teach my students.
So I think a very important characteristic to having tool belt is integrity, which means doing what's right all the time. It gets noticed. So myself included came in from the field just basically doing the small things. Eventually I was a foreman, and then I was a project manager, and now at a department of 13 project managers and 5 project engineers. And I haven't done anything special. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I do take integrity pretty serious, and I always do what's right. And people will notice that. I've seen other people in our company that we stick with them, and it's a solid place for us to invest in that person, because we know they're going to, they have our reputation there.
Can't say I have one word. I think one of the things I think of is reliability, being humble, being open, and being ethical, which I think everybody hit on here. I think also you have to be patient and realize that things will come. But I'm summarizing everything, I'm boiling it down to 3 words: be reliable, be dependable, be someone who's willing to learn, and first and foremost, I don't care what your skill level is, be a leader. Be a leader. That's important.
We're going there next. Ironically enough, see, he's a bright one. He's not the smartest one in the room.
Not at all.
But he's close to it.
Before on this panel, before I'm taking 4 minutes.
Fair enough. All right, none of you probably realize it, but I'm going to readily admit it because it's good to be whatever, transparent. I swung and missed. And I heard it here. I said superhero utility belt. You said, which was so appropriate for this morning, the tool belt. I should have said tool belt, so I missed that one, but next time I'll get it right. Okay, I want to go back to the leadership thing. Steve Jobs, remarkable person. You remember Steve Jobs? Yeah? Okay. Stomp once for yes, twice for no. Steve Jobs, Apple, never mind. Okay. Steve Jobs once said, if you want to make everybody happy, don't be a leader. Go sell ice cream. Okay? It's tricky. And I see this. My kids grew up in Gladwin. And no offense, Gladwin County's wonderful. It was great for them. But I meet a lot of young men. It's like, heck, if that lady's going to be my leader, how do you teach kids to lead? Is that an important aspect of any of this related to skilled trades? Because you don't always get to be your own boss, even in skilled trades. Some, I know that's what they aspire to. But can you guys respond to that a little bit?
Well, I think, and this is my opinion, it's hard to build a leader if they don't have any of those qualities from the start. So some of us aren't going to be leaders, and that's okay. But if you're going to be a leader, you are obviously comfortable with decision making, people looking at you, people questioning some of the decisions you make. So that's what it means to be a leader. Nothing wrong. We need leaders, and we need, I'll use the term followers because that's usually what we have. But to be a leader, you have to develop some self-confidence. And I think at our level where I teach, that is what I do. When I see some students that demonstrate leadership qualities, we then start to show them and fine-tune those leadership qualities. And I want to tell you, it's tough sledding when you're a 17 and 18-year-old. You have to be a leader in your peer group. That's some tough sledding. So when we get leaders in our programs, you're typically the real deal because you're competing with the toughest crowd you're ever going to, and that's your high school peer group. So that's where I stand on the leaders.
I think you got to have self-confidence. You said that to be a leader. It doesn't always come naturally. It can come from a peer. You guys can build each other up. We all have our own qualities, and your confidence level is going to change. You're going to be confident with very little at the beginning, and someday you'll be confident with all the things you've done, the Denzel thing. But you could have an example in your life, someone older that you're following their lead, and you see that person as a leader, so you kind of aspire to be like them. But there's nothing wrong with building one another up either.
I think from a leadership perspective too, right? Leaders don't always have to be right. I think we talked a little bit about failure. It's totally fine to be wrong. In fact, sometimes those are the better lessons than the things that go really easy. I remember some of the things a lot more vividly that didn't go the way that I hoped they would than a lot of the other things that went really well. And I think the opportunity for you guys to be leaders amongst each other is a super good point. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be the forefront out there charging forward and screaming and hollering and being the person that, that's running the show. But, you can be the person that helps the person that's next to you doing whatever you're doing. Hey, you know what? I've done that before, and maybe, hey, try this. Just a little bit of an adjustment. That's being a leader. It doesn't mean you're front page newspaper and, got 100 people behind you doing what you tell them every day. You can do it on a lot smaller scale. Just be somebody that you want to be around, right? And that'll help you be a leader, right? People want to hang out with you, and they think that you got a good attitude. They're going to follow you, right? And you're a good person and willing to help them out. That's what a leader is.
Say that again. Be somebody that you want to be around.
Yeah, be somebody you want to be around. Golden rule, right? Treat people like you would want to be treated. I mean, I think about that every day. I say to my folks at work all the time, I have 3 P's that I talk about: positive, polite, and professional. If you can give me that every day, you'll have a job on my team until I'm gone. And that's just really super important, to be able to do those 3 things in whatever role you're in. You'll do fine, right? Don't be a jerk. Don't be somebody that people go, man, I don't want to spend time with that person. they're miserable, you know? Your attitude goes a long ways, you know? It's not wine and roses. Sorry, you guys can't drink yet, right? But it's not wine and roses every day at work. It's not perfect. But as long as the good days outweigh the bad days, keep going. Go back tomorrow. Keep it up. So, super important.
I'll give you a little different twist on it. The most effective leaders recognize their deficiencies and they surround themselves with people that are better than they are in those areas that are their deficiencies. If you look at a lot of businesses out there, businesses that may have gone real well for a while with, let's say, an entrepreneurial person who started the business, that'll only go so far unless that leader truly leads and starts bringing in all the resources to allow them to grow. Because 1 + 1 can equal 2, but if you put together the right team, 1 + 1 will equal 3 or equal 4. It may sound a little off tilt for you here, but it's real. I've always found that I was not the smartest kid in the class. I was not the smartest leader as I was going up through my career, but I surrounded myself with the people that were better than me in almost every aspect. And by doing that, you create a leadership aura, if you will, that everyone will follow.
I just want to hop on what Mr. Meyer said earlier regarding sticking up for yourself and advocating for yourself. I think that's a form of leadership that you're training your kids today. I think that's really important to point out. If you can't contain yourself and stick up for yourself and be a leader for your individual self and your family, that's going to be an issue. So I really do appreciate what you said about that you got to advocate for yourself and be your own leader first. I think that's really important.
No question. You know that classic, like you can go back and talk to yourself when you're 17.
John, I would add on to that though, that if everyone functions where they're only for themselves,
Right.
then we will be way short of the mark. What you have to do is build your strengths up to be the absolute best that you can, but at the same time, get with people that want to be the best that they can and form that team that can go farther than you can on your own.
Yeah, if you're hiring people, hire awesome people. You get awesome results. That's the truth.
I thought it was going to be more complex.
Nope. It's that easy.
All right, we're going to slow down just for a minute. One of the best grad classes I ever had, I had a professor at SVSU, and she talked about, don't be afraid of the silence. I'm not afraid of the silence. So I'm going to ask a question to you guys. Okay? I'm not afraid of the silence. So if we sit here for 17 minutes, he said he wasn't afraid of silence. We won't sit here for 17 minutes. Do you have a question? Do you have a comment? Do you have a concern? Do you have something you want to ask them while they're here? Now, when we're done, they're not going to run out of the room. But do you have a question this moment while you're sitting here? Because odds are very good. If may I ask your name in the black Under Armour shirt?
Jesse.
Jesse? Cool name. All these guys up north have cool names. No one in here, no guys in here named Chris. They all have cool names like Jesse. Oh, sorry. If Jesse asks a question, I would bet you a lot that there's 6 other people in here that have the same question on their mind. They just didn't brave it and stick their hand up. Question, comment, concern for these guys.
So a lot of these trades have physical demands, like you're out in the weather on a daily, or you're in a shop, wrenching on a car, you're always working. What happens when you get older in life? You can't, do the same thing when you're 60 or 50. What do you do then? What happens when you run out of juice?
Right out of the gate, good question. Did you hear the question?
Yeah.
Okay. The question related to, I'm going to shrink it down and paraphrase, but related to, hey, a lot of skilled trades involve physical effort, whether it's simply standing, for 6 hours or 8 hours, et cetera. And what happens when you get older, and sometimes it involves the element, right? Who wants to take that?
That is a great question. I'm living it. I see it lived by a lot of people. It really ties to your point about the team and the leadership, actually. So if you are naturally a leader, you're going to do those things when you're young. You're going to live that young man's life in your youth. you're gonna get smarter as you go. You're not gonna carry 2 sheets of drywall. You're gonna tell someone else to do it, or you're gonna have a couple of other guys, or you're gonna get a piece of equipment to do it. You'll get smarter as you go. You'll learn to delegate, and just the natural evolution of things. If you're a leader, you're good at your job, and you know your job, you're confident, you're gonna just elevate. You're gonna rise up, and you'll be a foreman, and there'll be someone else doing it. It's a little bit lighter load on your body. There are some guys I've seen who are just, they like it. And to be honest with you, I miss it. I miss being in the field, busting my hands up and being cold and coming home and just passing out because I'm so tired. And that sleep of the men who labor is truly sweet. But you'll rise. And then there's opportunities. So those opportunities I was afforded and blessed with are just amazing. So somebody notices, like the integrity thing I was talking about. Hey, this guy's done a good job. He's a hard worker. He's always doing the right thing. Let's see if maybe he wants to come into the office and estimate or be a project manager. There's other spots as you move through your career. Doors will open. Don't be afraid of that. Anybody else?
I would add kind of to the opportunity thing, right? I mean, you're going to put your time in. There definitely is a, I don't want to say pecking order or a ladder, right? But you don't just come in as, you know, somebody fresh off the street and get to be the person running the show. Or I don't have to do that, right? I mean, the biggest thing you can do as somebody fresh out there is once you get your stuff done, grab a broom, go pick something up, stay busy, keep moving. You're going to keep doing those things, right? You're going to continue to learn. To Jeremy's point, as you get farther down and you get better at doing it, you're going to get asked, right? Hey, we got this job coming up, and I got to put a bid together for it. What's your name, sorry?
Ethan Roberts?
Ethan, you've done this for the last 15 years, and I want this job. Can you come in and sit with me, and we'll take a look at the drawings a little bit? Tell me what you think. How would you do it? You've done it. Let me build that into my estimate so that we can get this next bigger job. That kind of stuff is going to happen for somebody. And so that 5 hours that you spent with me in the office looking at a set of drawings, you're not out there, you know, throwing block in or, you know, tugging wire or whatever you're doing. It affords you those opportunities. So there are a lot of people that are into their more senior side of the career, but they're still out in the field pushing work, helping people like you guys learn. And hey, this is how we do that. Grab it and let's go. And then, you know, you don't have to be the guy, unless, like Jeremy said, some people just love it. I want nothing else other than to go out and put in my 10 hours today and do the job and go home, and that's okay, right? But you don't have to be the person in the trenches every single day for 30 years. You don't have to do that. You get to swap some stuff out.
Well, let me add this in.
Please.
I'm 75, and I'm still working. Now, I started out in skilled trades, but I made my way up to many different positions. And had I tried to stay in strictly doing the skilled trades aspects, there's no way I could be working at age 75. Right now, I have no idea when I'm going to retire. I think you're gonna look at, and it doesn't matter what job you're in, you're going to be looking at it, and you're going to be saying as you go along, am I still able to make a meaningful contribution? Am I still able to do the job that I love doing? And that's going to be the dictator as to when you're going to change direction in your life.
Thank you for adding that. Anybody else? Ethan, I'll tell you right now, and I wager a lot that these guys would agree with me. I'm impressed simply by the fact that you were brave enough to stick your hand up and ask the question. In my mind, that moves you towards the front of the line. It's like, there's 50 resumes in here, I want to see that's his. Okay? Just little stuff like that, which seems little, but it's, you know, these are the people that will hire you look like these guys. Okay? They don't look like the person sitting next to you yet. Okay? All right. Questions, comments, concerns? Over here.
I got one question. How do you tell if a kid's dedicated to what he wants to do?
Do you hear that? How do you tell if a kid is dedicated to what he wants to do, or she?
You know, it's hard for me to answer this, but I'm going to take a stab at it because I have like a third floor view of this. I'm like Mr. Myers, who's in the trenches every day working with the students as a teacher. I'm the dean of the program, so I have to kind of overlook a number of different programs, but I can see it. And I'm going to go back to some of the things I mentioned before. It's showing up, doing the work, not making excuses, getting your assignments done on time, going over an extra, doing extra credit, showing up early for class, staying late for class, jumping into an internship earlier than you're required to, working while you're going to school, the trade that you're going to school for, those types of things. There's not one answer to that, but I sit the tech center out there 3 or 4 days a week, and I see kids come and go, and it's the kids who come in early and stay late, and I know they're going to be successful. They're not going to be shy, they're not shy to ask questions. They're right out there. In fact, they're helping other students, with their classwork and things like that. So you see it, and it's some of the traits that we've all been talking about for the last 45, 50 minutes.
What was your name again? Devin. I'm not sure, I think that's exactly right what you said as far as your questions of someone being dedicated. I'm not sure if you meant a little bit of committed as well, but I just want to throw this out there, whether you were or not. I would not be afraid of changing what you're committed to at this point in your life. It's too big of a thing. Life's too big to have it all figured out right now. The dedication, doing those things, the showing up early, everything you're doing is teaching you for whatever you might go into next. So if you got a job with us and you came to me 3 years later and said, you know what, I'm not enjoying this, I got this other opportunity, but you've done good the whole time, I'm going to wish you well, I'm going to give you a great reference, no hard feelings, and that's, I think, across the board. People don't hold hard feelings, so don't feel like you can make a bad decision. Get a job, do something, and do good at it right now. It's only going to build to whatever you want to do or change your mind to later.
I think, to that point on the dedication, don't hit my radar as a manager to be that guy, right? 90% of people do a great job and I don't have to worry about them anytime. There's that 10% of people that, oh geez, my phone's ringing today, what's the news story gonna be today? What's the excuse today? How come I'm not at work? Whatever. Don't be that person, right? No matter where you're at, whether it's you're out on a job site, you're in the office, be a happy person, smile. Good morning, hey, how you doing? Be that person that genuinely seems to care and then wants to be there. That to me shows a ton of dedication, and just, it's okay, your car's gonna break down, right? Your kid is gonna get sick. Your mother-in-law is gonna break her leg. You're gonna get bit by your cat. I could tell you a million excuses. You get to have 1 or 2 of those. You don't get to have one every other week or, once a month. Here we go. So just, don't be that person. That shows a lot of commitment.
You've had somebody call you, they got bit by their cat?
Cat scratch fever is a real thing, because I did want to see him in my office with the doctor's note, and it was kind of real, but yes, yep, it happened. I can tell some. I'm sure we could all tell some stories about that kind of stuff.
I saw another hand over here. Go ahead.
When you walk onto that job site with your crew, what's your first expectation that you look for?
When you walk onto that job site with your crew, what's your first expectation that you're looking for?
So, to clarify the question, you, a new employee, is walking onto the job site. What is our expectation of you? First thing is to be on time, maybe even a few minutes early on your first day. Open mind. Come with an open mind, and I love the 3 Ps I call him Z, I'm sorry, but that Adam said. That's what I'm expecting. You come there, you're on time, and students hear this out of me a lot. All ears, no mouth. That's what I want. I want you listening, not talking. Because I'm going to tell you what you need to do. You have to listen and absorb that information. So that's my expectation when I have a new employee come in. I put them on the job. Be on time, open-minded, and the cream rises to the top. There's no doubt about that.
You want to add? In the back.
Did you guys always knew what you were gonna do when you're our age?
Did you guys have an idea of what you were gonna go into?
Yeah.
know where this answer's coming.
Not a chance.
I'll get mine out of the way real quick. Heavens, no. I'm very transparent also, so I had more energy than I do now back when I was younger, so I had a hard time sitting still, so I struggled in school. I didn't want to go to college, but my family expected it out of me. So I just think you just have to grind. You know how I talk about that? You have to want it. But I just stumbled upon a summer job in construction because I was like floundering. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I liked college because the atmosphere, but I didn't like the classwork because I wasn't the best at it. But here's a great thing. Construction, skilled trades, all of this, my students hear it. We have this beautiful thing we get to do, and I call it, we bridge the gap between practice and theory. Once I got to build stuff with my hands and I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doing algebra. I mean, I found out I was really smart in math. I just needed my hands to show me I was smart. So no, 17, 18, 19 years old, never thought in a million years I'd be a school teacher, let alone a pretty good one. So that's me, and my students get to see this every day, so this is no surprise, but I was just lost when I was your guys' age.
Russ, you knew what you wanted to do when you were 18?
No, not at all. I was a mess. No, not at all. My family was concerned because I didn't like anything except football, basically, and other sports as well. But yeah, no, I was lost. I begged my parents to let me go to a CTE class as a senior. I didn't even get to do it as a junior. And my dad looked at me, and my dad was a machinist, and he said, "You're not smart enough to be a machinist, so you're going to have to go to something else." Of course, I reconciled that quickly, and I chose between automotive trades and electrical electronics, and I went to that, and I excelled at that, but at my home school I was not excelling. And even when I went out to the profession, I worked in that profession for a few years down in Oakland County. I was a hit and miss. I was on and off. I was struggling. I wasn't quite happy. It's just a journey. I mean, when I was your age, no, absolutely, the path was not clear. The path didn't really become clear until I was in my late 20s, I felt like. But again, you got to be patient and you got to continue to go at it, because I could have walked away 100 times and I didn't. So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to be a lawyer, right? I started out, I knew what I wanted to be. I was going to do the suit and tie thing, did the co-op at the bank, and then I got to college and realized that that's not what I want to do. The construction thing, I told the story of kind of how I ended up in that first construction class. But what I will say is, after I made that decision, because construction is such a big field and there are so many opportunities, I've never had the thought of, okay, I want to go back and be a lawyer, or I want to get away from the construction industry. It's been very good to me and my family, and I tell everybody this when I get a chance. It's a great spot to go, and you can do whatever you want, whether that's be out in the field, run work, you want to bid work, you want to go, I've done everything from, being out in the field to working for a general contractor, a construction management company. I worked for a mechanical contracting company. Now I'm the owner, as the owner's rep for Dow Chemical on big projects. It's really exciting, but I've never said, man, I want to get out of here. So it's a great opportunity that now that I've made that decision, I don't see myself doing anything else.
There was a song written once, I don't remember the name of the gal who sang it, but it was, "Is That All There Is?" And what you're going to find in life is you're going to set goals. And all of a sudden you're going to reach that goal and you're going to say, is that all there is? I found for myself that I set a lot of career goals. You hit a goal and all of a sudden you say, wow, what's next? So you start looking at goals that take you farther. Let's say, for example, you were working on that construction job and now you recognize that you need to change directions. What's that next goal? And don't be afraid of those. That's life. And the number of career changes that you're going to make as you go along are going to be significant. And by the way, I didn't start out going to college either. In fact, I went through a $10,000 apprenticeship as my first step. But I followed it on recognizing that, college is probably something that I need for myself. I went to college until age 55. finally got all of my credentials that I needed at that point in time. So recognize that wherever you're starting, that's your starting point. Be passionate about everything that you do going forward, and recognize that where you're going today may not be the same place you're going to be going 10 years from now.
Last chance. Last one. Go ahead.
How do I know my job's still gonna be stable? Like, let's say I wanna be an automotive or something in there, and they change to electric. How do I know I'm like still gonna be needed?
You hear that question? Say it once more.
How do I know I'm still gonna be needed if something in my career, like automotive, how do I know it's like if it changes to electric? How do I know I'm still gonna be needed?
Okay.
Okay, let me throw a quick answer at that. If you went into the business and you were making buggy whips, because that's how old vehicles were powered by horses or buggy whips, you might find that you'd have to change your skill set. But what you really recognize is that the skills that you've got are adaptable with additional training to move you into that next plateau. So whether a vehicle is powered by a gasoline motor or a diesel or electric, there will be career opportunities in that field. You'll just have to migrate over to whatever the mainstay is within it, okay?
Okay, alas, we're running out of time, and this, I must say, gentlemen, this is like the quickest hour that maybe any of these roundtables we've done has gone. Really appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, being here, and you on the other end of the camera. Thank you for being here, part of this. Again, Mid-Michigan College is happy to serve our community and the communities around us. We're all one team. It's good stuff. Let's be succinct. Final words.
You can't make a wrong decision if you're just going to do something. Just go do something. Get a job, something that'll start building your character and start actually maybe helping you determine where you want to go or what the next step in your journey is. And to the gentleman's last question there, you're always going to be learning. I worked with a crusty old carpenter framing houses for a few years, and he always told me, he said, kid, if you're ripe, you're rotten, and if you're green, you're growing. So just stay green.
Thank you, Rob.
I want to conclude, first of all, I want to make note, Mr. Pellerito said thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I want it to be known that ladies in our industry are needed. They're successful. They have this attention to detail and organization that a lot of their male counterparts don't have. So the young ladies in the audience and listening, this is not a man's world, this construction industry, okay? So I guess that's what I want to close with, is letting you know that we are an equal opportunity industry. We just want performance. That's what we want. And my parting note is, fight for yourself. You know that. You know that. You just have to believe it.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Pellerito, Mid, and everybody here, whether you're on the camera or here in the room. Thanks for taking time to come listen to us talk. We like it. You can tell we've enjoyed it. We've been successful, and it's because we worked hard. But it's fun, right? We do love it. So I guess what I would say is, life is way too short to concern yourself with the bad stuff that can happen. Go do something. To Jeremy's point, pick it. Go do it. If it changes, that's okay. Live your life. Have fun. Make a family. Make friends. Go hunting. Go fishing. Do the stuff that you like to do. A job like this allows us to do that, and it'll allow you to do that, but just go out and enjoy life. It's very short and it's very precious. So enjoy what you have, and good luck to all of you. You'll do a great job.
Skilled trades is your starting point. It's not your end point. As you're moving along through life, what you really need to do is focus in on what are those things that are really things that you love. Because ultimately, the job that you want long-term is something that you love, something that you look forward to going to every day. If it's a job and all it is work for you, you're never going to be happy with it. So my encouragement to you is grab something that gets you started. But as you're going along, make sure that you're looking for opportunities to get you from that career choice that is really going to be something that you will love for the rest of your life?
I think my parting shot would be thank you for coming, and thank you for attending this, and thank you for listening to us, and thank you, Chris, for hosting this. I think if there's one thing I could send you away with is just be passionate about your life in general. And pour your passion into your work, your family, and the people around you. What you just said was great. My best times that I have during my year is when I'm not at work usually. It's your free time, right? It's the hunting, the football game, the fishing, trips. It's those types of things that you can't get there unless you find a passion that's going to give you some monetary rewards as well. So pick something, go and do it with a lot of passion, and whatever you do, just enjoy life and put everything you've got into it, because we're only here once and we take one swing at it. So just find something, be passionate about it, and it's going to work out.
Okay, we have gone over the planned hour, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, thanks for being part of this. You won't recognize this from your perspective, but later, I mark my words, you'll recognize, yeah, that was a pretty worthwhile opportunity to hear from these guys. So please do me the favor in helping me thank them with a nice round of applause.